So we don't even have to think about it and try to decide if it is or isn't. I'm telling you it is. So we can use either the binomial table or the formula for calculating. So part A says by hand. So the formula that we are given on our formula sheet is n choose x, p to the x, 1 minus p to the n minus x. So I'm trying to calculate my n is 6, so I do 6 choose 4. P, so 0.33 to the x is 4. 1 minus p, so 1 minus 0.33, 6, 7, to the n minus x, so 6 minus 4 is 2. So then we have to put this in our calculator. Everybody remembers how to get the choose part. Math, probability, number 3. And we should get 0.0799. Like I've kind of said before, there is sometimes a difference between the value if you calculate it by hand versus on the table. It's really only the last decimal that's usually off, but just make sure you're showing me enough work that I know how you're getting your answer. So if you're putting it in your calculator, write down what you're typing in. On part B, I said to use the table. So everybody get out your table and make sure you can find this. My n value is 10, so that's the back of the first page. Remember, this is on a note handout, so you guys have this printed. My p is 0.7, and my x is 8. So what do you get from your table? Did everybody find that number on their table? So a biologist is studying a new hybrid tomato. It is known that the seeds of the hybrid have a probability of 0.7 of germinating. The biologist plants 6 seeds. Is this binomial? Yeah, we have 6 trials, so that's my n. Everything has a probability of 0.7. And there's only 2 outcomes. Either it germinates or it doesn't. Okay, so that is binomial. 2 possible outcomes. So the probability that exactly 4 will germinate. So that's saying my x is 4. Is this one that I have to do by hand, or could I use my table? We could use the table. So we're going to n equals 6, which is on the first page. The x is 4. And our probability is 0.7. So go over to the 0.7 column. So on the table we get 0.3241. All right. What is the probability that at least 4 will germinate? So at least 4 means 4 or more. We only have 6 total, so that means it could be 4 or 5 or 6. So what do we have to do? So go back to your table. So we are back at the 4, so n is 6, my x is 4, my p is 0.7. So the probability of 4 was 0.3241. And then you just read down. So the probability of 5 was 0.3025. Probability of 6 is 0.1176. We get 0.7442. C, the probability that at most 3 germinates. So what can X be? Okay. Give me 2 ways of getting that.
You do the complement of what we just found.
We already found 4, 5, or 6. 0 through 3, that's the opposite, the complement. So you could do 1 minus the answer we just got. What's the other way we could get it?
Yeah, that's what I want to.
Yeah, we could go to our table and add up those numbers. They're all there for us. And so if you did that, you would have 0.0007, 0.0102, 0.0595, and 0.1852. Again, due to how things are rounded, there is a possibility that you might get a slightly different answer, like last decimal place, depending on which method you use. So please just show me your work. Let me know how you're getting the numbers you get. So if you did the complement, you get 0.2558. If you do it by adding, you get 0.2556. And again, they're both correct. It's just rounding errors, so just show me your work. So pick one of those methods and go with it. All right, mean and standard deviation. This is probably the easiest mean and standard deviation we can calculate. If you look at your table, or sorry, your formula sheet, the mean for a binomial is just n times p. So at the beginning, we knew the n was 6, the p is 0.7, so we get a mean of 4.2. Standard deviation for a binomial is the square root of n times p times 1 minus p. So n is 6, p is 0.7, 1 minus 0.7 is 0.3. And we should get 1.1225. Questions? I am not going to do the last one. That's kind of the weird one that yesterday I told you I'm not going to be having you do any of those right now with the using the empirical rule. So we're not going to have to do any of those on our own. So I'm not going to work through that one right now. So here is what I want to do today. I am going to give you a handout. It says Chapter 6 quiz at the top. It is not a quiz. It's an old quiz that I gave from this chapter. I'm doing it as an in-class assignment for you guys. So it's kind of like homework, but here's the twist. I want you to ask me your questions. So I don't want you working together. I want you asking me your questions so I can figure out where we have gaps and what we need to work on. Okay? So it's not really a quiz, but I just want you ask for help when you need it. Let me know when you're struggling with something.